So I would make a motion that the Board of Education of Mundelein Elementary School District 75 nominate Emily Carl as a member of the Board of Education of Mundelein Elementary School District 75 to replace Lisa St. Clair, who resigned effective April 19th, 2022. Emily Carl's term as a Board of Education member will expire in April of 2023, when the newly elected member of the Board of Education will be seated.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So with that, Emily, administer oath of office. So stand 6 feet and raise your right hand.
Told us to come in, but they didn't tell us what we were supposed to do once we got in.
I, Emily Carl,
I, Emily Carl,
solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
of member of the Board of Education of Mundelein Elementary School District 75
of a member of the Board of Education of Mundelein Elementary School District 75
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States,
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
I further swear or affirm that
I further swear that I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets. I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board while respecting the privacy of students and employees. I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting. I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels. As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district. I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Mundelein Elementary School District 75. I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement in all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law. I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students in our community schools to advance the vision for Mundelein Elementary School District 75. And I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome to the board. It's part of my trick. So, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So, one of the things that I want to mention, you may already know this, but for the benefit of the rest of the board, you know, we implemented a mentoring program.
Mhm.
So, Kevin Holly is going to be your mentor, but don't think that you don't and can't communicate with the rest of the board,
Okay.
because we're all in this together, and although Kevin will be dealing with you and helping you kind of training and going through things. If there's something that comes up or there's a question, don't hesitate to reach out. And then I know that you've been having some meetings with Dr. Myers and getting a feel and handle on what's going on, but there's going to be more of that, so you get to see the schools and the environment and get to meet the staff, which is very important as well. And finally, I'd like to kind of ask, as we go around, have each one of the board members kind of introduce themselves to you so that you're familiar, have a name with the face.
Okay.
You want to start, Freddie?
Sure. Freddie Gallegos, I've been on the board just over 2 years now. Welcome.
Thank you.
Happy to have you.
Ray Rose. Joe.
I'm Eric Billetier. I've also served on the board for just over a year now. Welcome.
Thanks.
Alan, I've been on this board for just over a year, but have a plethora of school board experience.
Let's just say over 35 years.
Yeah.
right?
Just over there.
Okay.
Well, thank you all.
Christie's out there somewhere.
I'm Christy Fingerhut. I'm here on Zoom today.
Hi, Christy.
All right, any questions, Emily?
Not right now.
Okay,
I'm sure they'll be coming.
well, if there are, don't be bashful.
Thanks.
All right, so next then is citizen comments. And we have anyone that wants to address the board, and that includes anybody online. And if there are anybody who's going to address the board, we have a time of 3 minutes each. Yes, sir.
It is right here, okay?
Sure.
All right, okay. So I'm Jorge Cantu. I'm one of the co-directors of the District 75 Steve Foundation. I hope that you all got a moment for our to walk by some of our scientific posters. This is a new program that we've started this year. This is the first year we've done the Explorers, Scientific Explorers project, which culminates in this poster presentation. So these students developed their entire projects together with their parents and did all of the experiments that they presented today and designed their posters and did everything. So I just wanted to take a moment, if we could just acknowledge them because they did a great job. So. And here is it's the parents that did most of it.
And I'm Nikki Eric. I think I've been here before with you all. I'm the president of the Steam Foundation. I want to thank Jorge. This project was his brainchild because he dabbles a little bit in the sciences. If you don't know, he's actually a professor at
Northeastern Illinois University.
And spends a lot of time with zebrafish or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
Internationally renowned zebrafish research.
That's what he does, but we don't see a lot of science fair action, I think, at the schools anymore, so we're happy to try to provide that sort of action for the kids. And if it can grow, we're happy to help it grow. And on the flip side, we like music, so this is a check to pay for the 4th grade band camp this summer. So thank you for that.
Are you enjoying yourself, kids?
Yes.
Enjoy doing this?
Yes.
Good. Good to hear.
And I want to congratulate you all because I didn't get to see everybody's projects, but in every one that I went to, I learned about a cleaning product now that I need to get that's organic. I learned how I can store my strawberries longer than what I currently had. And I learned about star finding, and I actually got to learn the actual names for the Big and Little Dipper, which I didn't know before. So all of you are amazing. Follow your passion. You like being scientists and exploring and finding out things, please keep doing that. And I want to say something. For your presentations, you were very impressive, especially for your ages. You should all need to be very proud of yourselves. Because I know when I was your age, I could not have stood up in front of some adults and been able to have done the presentations you did. You're very bright individuals. You're going to be wonderful and great. Keep it up, okay? Because the other thing you got to think about, everything you like about STEM projects, you've got all that at the high school. So look forward to that, okay? All right. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So do we have any other citizen comments? Anybody online?
No.
Okay, thank you. Do any of the board members have any comments?
I'll make a brief comment if that's okay. I'm sorry that I was unable to be there for the STEAM, the Science Explorers. I wanted to see that since we've been talking about that for a few months with the STEAM Foundation. But I don't know if the posters are going to be left up or anywhere to be viewed, or is anyone taking pictures of them maybe so that we can see more about those, since not all of us got to see them.
Christy, we're talking to Peter. I think Peter has some questions. We don't know if they're questions right now, so we'll find out.
Okay. Okay. Well, I just want to thank all of them for coming as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Chrissy. Oh, sorry.
That's fine. I just wanted to say thanks to the Mechanics Grove staff and acknowledge them for that great leadership day. I thought that was an excellent day and it was really fun to be a part of. So just thanks for such a great event. It was great to see the students there.
Yes, you're right. It was
That was awesome.
very successful. Anything, Freddie? No?
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
So next District 75 reports, and we'll start with business office.
Good evening.
IT.
How are you
Good.
tonight? That's great. So the first thing on our agenda is the, let's see here, the tentative draft budget. There is no PowerPoint there, just because what we're doing tonight is actually passing the resolutions to place our budget on display. There were only two major changes and they're discussed in your packet, but the one change was to increase our revenue by about 228,000 due to some adjustments that have been released from the state of Illinois on our general state aid or evidence-based funding, depending on what you call it. And then secondly, our operating expenditures increased by $205,000. And this was to adjust for employee benefit projections for next year. As we finish up these last basically month and a half of the year-end figures and projections may change. And if those change, then when I come to adopt the budget in June with you, I will bring those changes so that you're made aware of those changes and all of the documents at that time. So again, placing this on display tonight does not mean that the budget will not change. This is just our legally required notice to the newspaper, notice to our community, as well as the document itself being placed on display. That being said, we have our public hearing at the June meeting at 7 o'clock here at the district office. Any questions?
Maybe a little background for Emily. Historically, do we go early for getting our budget? And when do we usually have the budget finally adopted? And kind of a little background on, like, does the finance committee review any of this with you? Your 5-year projections?
Correct. So the way the timeline works is generally in February, I present some type of a 5-year financial projection. Then after that, in March, we bring to the Finance Committee a draft budget. Now, the Finance Committee takes an in-depth look at that budget because that Finance Committee is allowed to be more at like the closer than 30,000 foot view of our finances. So they do the in-depth deep dive of our budget. But from there, it's brought to the board for a draft. And that is a higher level budget that is brought to the board. And we address kind of more higher level items at that time. And then it comes to the board for display. That's what we are doing tonight. And then after that, it goes for adoption and it's actually posted on the website and filed with the state. It is not due until September. And some districts will actually file their budget in September. We try to have ours done and adopted by June 30th because the new fiscal year starts July 1st. And personally, and I believe the board follows this as well, it's best practice to have a budget on file before you begin the fiscal year. So I think that addressed all of the items.
And on the finance committee, there's 2 board members
Yes,
which represent.
there's 2 board members and then 2 community members as well. Okay. So that is our tentative budget. We'll be asking for that resolution to be passed later on this evening. Okay. So the next item in your packet is a resolution authorizing the SSP through TRS. So back in 2018, Illinois passed a law that we basically have to offer a TRS option for a supplemental savings plan to our certified staff members. They are not ready to implement this yet, but they technically could have implemented it as of March 1st. So this resolution, while it doesn't obligate us to anything and they're not ready to implement this, passing this resolution is recommended by our attorneys and will put us in the best position possible to actually implement it once the state is ready. We won't have to come to the board for additional resolutions and have a delay there. So that's why it's coming to you now, even though it hasn't been fully adopted and approved through the state. So that resolution is coming to you tonight. Any questions? Okay, and then next.
Is the supplemental plan, who's paying for that? Is that just an option for employees to be able to do like a 403B? Or is that a contribution that would be something districts would need to put in?
D, all of the above. So it's not required that the district put in, but the district could match if you wanted to. At this point, we're not having to make that decision. But it is basically through TRS, the employees would do it like a 403B. So it doesn't come at a cost for us, but we are required to implement it and give our employees, even though we offer 403B and we offer a supplemental, we just have to be able to give them this option as well because it's the law. Okay, the next item in your packet, we're very excited to bring to you an intergovernmental agreement with District 76. This intergovernmental agreement basically extends to District 76 our lunch rates that we currently have with Chartwell. So we're extending a bid contract rate to another school district. Now that means that school district doesn't have to bid. But what we do have to do as part of that is provide school-to-school agreement, which is why we're doing this. Now, this agreement is not only extending them our rates and our benefits of those rates, but it's also allowing them to use our facilities for their meal preparation. They do not have on site the ability to make their own meals. So right now they're having their meals shipped 45 minutes away, which sometimes the eggs come and they're green because of a 45-minute trip. They're being charged $1 more than we're getting for lesser quality food and lesser benefits. So this comes for cost savings to them. They're already paying another school district the same amount that they're going to pay us to rent our facilities. So you see that in the agreement as well. So we will receive $18,000 a year. Again, added revenue for doing nothing. So that's a great benefit. But the other anticipation from this agreement is that we will be able to offer higher quality food because we'll be purchasing on a larger level. So again, very excited to offer this intergovernmental agreement to District 76, and I'm happy to entertain any questions you may have.
Did they approach us or did we approach them?
We approached them. So I just approached him more saying, we're gonna be bidding this out. Do you want to join us to bid? And then he explained his situation. And then we started going back and forth and it just kind of happened. So I'm excited. It's a benefit to everyone. Lower cost, better food, more money. So win-win-win. I think,
Very good, Chief.
Yeah.
Good job.
I think those are all the items on the agenda for the business office. Thank you very much.
Chief. Thanks. Next is the superintendent's report.
2 items under my heading. Tonight, we do ask that the board members be able to give us an idea if you'd like to be in attendance at the Triple I Conference. The Triple I Conference is the annual event where school boards, administrators will go down in Chicago the week before Thanksgiving, so it's November 18th through 20th. And it's to be able to participate in the presentations and to learn from other school board members. And for us also, I think, to continue to develop our chemistry as a team. Last year, we had a very good turnout for everybody to go. But we need to be able to know because June 6th, June 6th, Anna will have 3 computers up with screens. And once the clock opens, it's like going for rock concert tickets because everybody starts signing up. So if you're all thinking you may want to go, please let us know, yes, because we'd rather send you up and we can still pull you back out later. So we can at least guarantee the room. And what I'd like to ask, instead of me describing the weekend, I'd like to ask the board members that experienced it. And Emily, I don't know if you've attended it before, but I think probably for a little bit for your benefit, kind of give an idea of what to expect with going down there. Spouse, significant others always welcome to come too. Most people bring, and we try to have dinner at least one night together as a group. And then there's always something going on where people are hanging out and some people go to, was it Hell at the Moon? People went to, yeah. So if you guys, people want to share, please do.
It's a really great event, especially for new board members. There's so much to learn and experience there. They also have a really nice path for new board members that provide a lot of like introductory and, you know, kind of groundwork information to get you started. And it's just really beneficial as a new board member to go, and also really fun to just kind of get to, you know, build relationships with our colleagues here too. So it's a great time.
Yeah, unfortunately, this last year, I was unable to go. I was just getting done with surgery, so couldn't really walk much. But I've gone many times in the past with the high school board. And like Eric said, there's a lot of different learning opportunities of how other school districts work, you know, things that maybe we could incorporate somewhere down the line if it's something we were interested in, and a lot of information together too. And the general session speakers usually are very good, very good. So I've enjoyed it in the past 6 or 7 times that I've gone.
From, like Eric said, from the board member perspective, you know, this is attended by school districts across the entire state. So you're getting a perspective of what's happening down in Cairo, Illinois, and all the way up to here. And there's a lot of neat things when you hear what some of these districts are doing that we can think about implementing. And we also can get a reinforcement of what we're doing and we're on the right track. And listen to what some of the issues that these other school districts have. And it's a good opportunity not only to interact with other school board members, but as well as with this board. You know, we have an opportunity to talk, interact, and exchange ideas, and just get to know each other. We, I think, brought back a lot of stuff that we've been looking to implement, and I think it's put us on a good path.
I think aside from what fellow board members said, I think the biggest thing, not the biggest, but I think one of the neat things is all of our subcommittees that we're on, they have a lot of topics on that. So whether you want to dive into finance or policy or equity or whatever, in this case, it was equity last year. There was a lot of topics on that, or a lot of sessions on that. So it's kind of beneficial. So definitely overall a great event. I learned a lot. I didn't get to go my first year, because it was still in the COVID, but I definitely would go back.
And I can add that I got to attend for 2 years, and then 1 year was was all virtual, which wasn't nearly as exciting, but the first year, only I think 2 of us went, and then this last year 5 of us went, and there's definitely a big difference among the attendance and the feel for it, and coming back and talking about it when multiple people attend, because you can't possibly attend all. I mean, there are it's a huge book full of different offerings and different tracks. There are things for educators, things for administrators, things for board members on all of those tracks, like Freddie said. So you can't possibly attend all of them anyway. So it's nice to be able to sort of divide and conquer, and we talk ahead of time about which things interest us, which ones we'd like to attend. And so that you don't have all 5 of you going to one thing and, nobody going to some of the others. And that gives an opportunity to get some of the information from all of the pieces. And, as an educator, you may find different interest in some of the seminars than I tend to like some of the legal ones and whatever. So there's different things to do, which are fun. And it's nice to get to know everybody on a little more of a personal basis rather than just our, 1 or 2 evenings a month. So it's definitely, I recommend, and I would hope that, as many of us that can go can, and it's a great experience. So thanks.
And then, of course, it is, expenses are paid for. So if you know now you want to go, thumbs up, Anna. We can at least start planning. First,
Barring any surgery.
thumbs up. Yeah, Christy, you're good. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. We'll look forward to that. As we get closer, again, we'll be providing more information for all of you. The last, excuse me, the last item on my part of my agenda is the annual safety drills. So in your packet, you'll see from every building, the list of safety drills that need to be completed. Every district or in the state has to do this. You work with law enforcement and the fire department to make sure that we are completing the trainings as necessary. This has to be approved by the board. As you can see, going through the document, we have went through and done all of our safety procedures, had safety meetings with the different committees. So we are in compliance for this past year as far as conducting our safety drills. So in the safety drills, in a nutshell, you're looking at evacuation drills, you have lockdown drills, you have bus evacuation drills, you have shelter in place drills. And then you've got the committees that also go through and kind of look at your crisis plans as well, where in all these cases, we are working with the local authorities, either it's the fire department or the police department. So we do work together with one another as we coordinate these events. That would be it for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, sir. The next time we have committee updates, board policies, Christie.
I attended the webinar today for Press 109. Thankfully, it's much smaller than Press 108 was, so we'll all be excited to see that once we all get our packets on that. That'll come out, I imagine, over the next month. We are not in a hurry to get that done. We'll eventually get that approved sometime over the summer, and hopefully we'll be able to pull together some of the other changes and things that we've talked about in our first few sections that we've gone through. I will, for Emily's sake, say that we've implemented this year a new way of doing policy. The policy committee, we've divided it up. All of our board policies are available on the website. And we can help you find that if you can. It's under the Board of Education section. But we subscribe to a service that's called Press Plus that allows us to implement these quarterly updates that the IASB puts together and sort of makes recommended changes. Some of them are, just normal reviews. Some of them are because of law changes and things that happen. Then they go through and they'll automatically update and give us a proposed edits. And then we have to go through as a board. So what typically happens is the policy committee would review it first and then push it out to the board for everybody to look at. But what we found that was sort of doing in the past was only allowing or primarily having the people, the 2 or 3 members on the board policy committee being really aware of what was in the policies and everybody else, because it's a lot of reading and a lot of, it's really thick. Not everybody was as up to date on knowing what our policies are. And since that's one of our few actual tasks, that we're in charge of as a board, is dictating the policy and setting the policies for the district, we decided it was important to have us all be involved in that process. So we took all of our policies and divided them into 12 sections so that over the course of a year, we will at each meeting or in advance of each meeting, review a section so that we can later on in the meeting, we'll talk about, that particular section. Tonight, we're on section 3. And it's really more an opportunity for all of us to have an opportunity to read through it and get to know what the policies are and discuss any potential changes that we want. Or want to talk about, or things that we may want to keep in mind for the future, so that when we do go through these quarterly updates through, as I said, Press 109 is the next one, we can, at that same time, when we vote to adopt that or adopt with some changes, we can implement some of those changes. The goal is by the end of a year, we should all be pretty well versed on what our policies are, and be a lot more prepared to make the minor edits as they may be and as they may come, by all of us knowing in advance what they are. So that's just that part, but we'll get to the meat of it later. But that's all I have to report on that right now.
Thank you, Chrissy. Finance advisory, ready?
Yes, so we had our meeting last week. We reviewed another 8 finance policies, so we're making our way through. T, do you know how many we have?
How many we have left?
Yeah.
It's 12, I believe.
12 left, okay, so we probably got a couple more meetings to get through them, but we're making good progress, making some notes on them as a committee, which when we get to that section, we'll bring it to the whole board and just kind of talk through those sections. Other than that, we went over some of the summer projects that we're going to be working on. And T, I didn't make the greatest note, my apologies. So I know we're doing a bus lane at MG, the mobile classrooms at MG obviously is the big one. Washington Lights, I wrote down.
Yep, Washington Lights.
okay.
Also, update to playground equipment. But I believe that's it.
Okay. All right. Other than that, I think our next scheduled meeting is in August, but it's a pretty brief one. And like I said, this one was focused on mostly policy.
Thank you. Next then is school boarding. So one of the things that we had discussed is under the code of conduct. And Eric came up with a tremendous idea about going through one code of conduct each meeting, and then defining what it means and how does it affect us. So Eric,
All right.
floor is yours.
I thought I would give Emily just a little background here. One of the things that did come out of our last Triple I conference was a book study that the board did together. There's a really great book that was at that conference called The Art of School Boarding. And since we had a lot of brand new members here, we thought it would be good to kind of read that together and kind of get a framework for what we need to be doing. And one of the suggestions in that book was to keep the code of conduct at the forefront of what we're doing, because, we've all agreed to follow that code of conduct and it drives, the way that we work together here. So the book mentioned just reading one at each meeting, and there are 12 of them. So throughout the year, we would get through all 12 of them. And it's not meant to, add too much time to our meetings, but just read through that code. And if there's maybe any comments that anybody wants to make, we would have an opportunity to do that. The book itself does a really nice job of kind of defining the code a little bit. And I had planned to read that, but of course I did forget the book in my classroom today. So I do have just the codes with me, and I thought we would start with just code number 1 today, and I'll read it. If anybody has any comments that they want to, maybe say what it means to them or how they feel that that applies to our work, we can go ahead and do it. And if not, it's just a nice reminder of, one of the codes that we've agreed to follow here. So I'll get started with number 1 here. The code of conduct for Illinois school board members, number 1 says, I will represent all school district constituents honestly and equally and refuse to surrender my responsibilities to special interest or partisan political groups. I guess for me, that's just a nice reminder here that we are doing this job for the entire community. And, there are different subsets of the community, but our focus is to support the entire community and not just one of our own interests. And, especially with political issues that may be at the forefront of our work, it's really important for us to maintain, objectivity and, remember who we're here for, and that's the entire community, regardless of your party affiliation or your special interest.
Yeah, and I think sometimes that objectivity is hard to maintain because you may have strong feelings about something and or be harassed, influenced by other people in the community. So it makes it difficult sometimes to step back and say, I can hear what you're having to say. I'll take it into consideration, but we have to and remind them that we're doing our job for everyone in the community. And that's not only the taxpayers, which most of them are, but it's, for the kids, for the staff, for the schools, for everybody.
Following with what you're saying, that's what we've kind of been talking about, that the community gives us 2 things, our kids and our money. It's up to us to make sure that we do the right thing for the entire community that Elle's talking about. We can't lose sight of that.
Waylaid a few times over my career at church or in a store, just even at Mundelein.
Yeah.
Why are you doing it that way? Well, try to explain to them if you can. Doesn't pay to get into a heated discussion. You just gotta maintain calm.
I think one of the things just from hearing you, and I think as board members, is at times I think you probably feel isolated. And I think when you have those times when you're approached, where do you go? I think that's the time where you've got to really look and rely on one another, right? Get feedback, or know that we're here too. I mean, you can always call me, hey, here's what happened, or we can just talk through it. And that's where I think some of our best work happens, right? And that's where we get to know each other. So it's that team, you keep talking about networking, working together. Know that you're not on an island, right? You're a cohesive group.
Yeah.
We're here to support you too, so.
I know over time, there's been issues that I wasn't sure about, or you hear something and I've gone to the principal or the superintendent, wherever I was, and trying to get some feedback or understanding. Sometimes 99% of the time, they're very helpful. 1% you might lose out somewhere along the way, but it's very helpful to rely on the administration also.
Have a copy of the Art of School Boarding that
I
we
have one. They gave it to me yesterday.
Awesome.
Yes.
I think if I could add one more thing, I think that it's also helpful because all of us have different roles, outside of the school board in the community in different, some of us are current parents of kids, some of us are teachers, some of us are community members, business owners, and in different ways. So it's helpful that we all bring a different perspective that sometimes the administration doesn't know. We're sort of all the eyes and the ears for parts of the community. And it is helpful that when we hear something, we can bring it at least to the administration so that they can be aware of something, or maybe they're already aware of it or they're not, and then they can go do the work that might be needed to deal with that, because that's obviously not our purview. But sometimes it's helpful to, keep those lines of communication open from the community to the administration and the administration to the community, and it goes both ways. We can help be a conduit, and that's part of that.
You have a copy of the book, right?
I do.
I actually think you'll find it enjoyable read. It's like little stories in it, and there's some comedy, and it kind of makes it very interesting.
That's it then. That's great. Well, we'll move on to number 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Right then, next representative updates, STEAM Foundation. I don't know, Christie, if you had anything additional to add to what we've already heard tonight.
Right, so I know that the STEAM Foundation did meet with the, and I think the PTO and the administration today to help make sure that some of their activities and fundraisers that are planned for next year can be incorporated into the full events calendar, so that hopefully we'll have fewer overlaps. And I know that's a good goal that a lot of the both districts and a lot of different organizations within the districts are trying to be cohesive and aligned that way, so that we don't have, you know, a really big fundraiser competing with curriculum night or various things like that. So I know that they met with that today. We already heard from the Science Explorers, and this was our first year doing that. And I know that Jorge was very excited to be able to have them present today. So thank you to everybody who took the time to look at their posters and do that. And we're hoping to improve on that and make that a bigger thing next year, now that kids can have a better understanding of what it is. We are planning next year to do more of our fundraisers that we were only able to do one this year, and it was virtual. So we're hoping to do more in-person fundraisers next year, which are fun and important things, so that we can continue the fundraising, so that we can help do, you know, they've done some scholarships and stuff for the STEAM camps that are at the high school this summer. And so those are the next thing that's being put together and implemented, and then planning for the fundraisers in the fall after the music band camp, as she delivered the check tonight. So got a lot of good things up ahead. There are some openings for board members on the STEAM Foundation. So if anybody knows of any community members in District 75 who would be interested in being a part of the STEAM Foundation board, they can contact me and I can get them in touch with it. I don't remember the email off the top of my head. There's also going to be some Facebook posts that have gone out seeking that, and we're having an informational board meeting in June. I think it was June 23rd, in order to, you know, kind of have them, any prospective board members, get to know the rest of them, because we've had a few vacancies and we want to keep people, you know, active and want to do that. So if anyone knows of anyone that's interested, send them our way. Thank you.
Thank you, Christie. Eric, see it all?
Okay. Our next governing board meeting is going to be on June 1st. I just recently got the agenda here. Aside from some special recognitions of some CEDAW employees, the main focus for the next meeting is some appointments for their executive board, and also a presentation of the tentative budget for the 22-23 school year. I'll have a little bit more to report on after the June meeting.
Okay, thank you. Community outreach, me, nothing to report. Equity committee, Christie, Freddie, Eric.
So Eric, and I'll admit we dropped the ball. Eric had done, and I don't mean Eric, I mean the rest of us, but Eric had implemented the changes that we had discussed to the equity policy and sent it to us the day of the last board meeting, I believe it was, or right before. And with the 2 special board meetings we had since then, and all of the other things going on, I completely forgot to go back and review them. So they did not get discussed and put into tonight's board packet for proposal. So I would assume that we're going to follow up on that so that we can circulate that, get those finalized. And we've already discussed them. We had reported on it last month, but I know we've been a few board members shy the last couple of meetings and there's been a lot going on. So we will get that out for the next board meeting so that we can put it on the agenda to hopefully adopt it at the next board meeting, which we had anticipated doing tonight, but it just didn't happen.
Very good, thank you. All right, next is the consent agenda. So if there's any board member that wants anything removed or tabled for further discussion.
If you don't mind, I would walk through that. So Emily, consent agenda. Purpose of consent agenda are things that typically just happen every month or like annually that are typical. So the board member look through it. If there's a question you'd have on it, you'd ask to have something pulled out. But there really is boilerplate stuff that we feel at this point, it isn't needed to go to directly to the meeting to have conversation.
No, but that's good. So one motion will cover the consent agenda, so I'd make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, sir.
Oh, was just checking Freddie to see if he.
Yeah.
I was looking around, I was, Hitzke seconded.
I was gonna point out, this needs to be a roll call.
Keep them on their toes, Christie.
Thank you, Chris. Let's hear.
Aye.
Finger Hut,
Aye.
Diegos, aye. Carl
Aye.
and Holly absent.
We got rolls.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry,
All right,
well, you made the motion.
Yeah, we still have to.
Sorry.
And I,
Hitzke, sorry.
So
Honest.
Freddie, just because I usually do it, whoever makes the motion and then seconds it, I usually call them first and second and then rotate around since we're not supposed to go in the same order each time, but
that's why I did a good job last month.
you have more practice at least being, in that role, I would imagine at some point in time.
6 years.
Hopefully everyone will get a chance to do it on their own and I won't have to be the eternal secretary, but we'll see. We discovered during all the COVID Zoom meetings, though, that having the secretary in person is a whole lot easier because of the delay with back and forth than me trying to do it from home. So that's why we have Freddie doing it tonight.
so you see why you have a lifelong job?
Yeah, no.
Okay, next is the board action items. First is the draft tentative budget. Make a motion that the Board of Education of Mundelein Elementary School District 75 accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve fiscal year 2022-2023 draft tentative budget as presented.
Second,
So is this a vote?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Rose,
Yes.
Diegos, aye. Pelletier.
Aye.
Finger Hut,
Aye.
Hitzke,
Aye.
Carl,
Aye.
Holly absent.
All right, then, next is fiscal year 22 resolution to authorize the SSP through TRS. So make a motion that the Board of Education of Mundelein Elementary School District 75 accept the superintendent's recommendation to adopt the employer participation agreement resolution as presented.
I'll second.
She got it. Give it to her.
It doesn't matter. Go ahead.
So Rose,
Yes.
Finger Hut,
Yes.
Diegos, aye. Hitzke,
Aye.
Carl,
Aye.
Holly absent. Pelletier.
Okay. Next is fiscal year 23 3, District 75 and District 76, IGA school to school lunch agreement. Make a motion that the Board of Education of Mundelein Elementary School District 75 accept the superintendent's recommendation to adopt an intergovernmental agreement with Diamond Lake School District 76 for food service as presented.
Second.
Second. Rose,
Yes.
Billy Tear.
Aye.
Fingerhut,
Aye.
Biggles, aye. Hitzke.
Aye.
Carl,
Aye.
Holly, absent.
Next is the annual review of safety drills. I make a motion that the Board of Education of Elementary School District 75 accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve Carl Sandberg, Mechanics Grove, Washington, and Lincoln School required safety and drill plans as presented.
Second. Rose,
Aye.
Gallegos, aye. Hitzke.
Aye.
Carl,
Aye.
Holly, absent. Billy Tear.
Aye.
Fingerhut,
Aye.
Right. So next is the executive session. So motion for the Board of Education meeting to adjourn and enter into executive session at
I think you've got to say the purpose.
discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act.
What? Use that.
Roll call.
Yeah.
We have to do sign something before enter.
7054, we're closing on an open,
Okay.
and then we gotta do it all again to open up and close.
Roll call. Billy Tear. Here. Fingerhut,
Yes.
Gallegos, yes. Hitzke.
Yes.
Carl,
Yes.
Rose,
Here.
Holly, absent.
We'll now go back to open session.
8:03.
3.
Call it roll.
Just in case anyone left.
I do. I have to call it a roll again, Anna?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yep. Okay, Billy Tear. Here. Fingerhut,
Here.
Biggles here. Hitzke.
Here.
Carl,
Here.
Rose,
Here.
Holly, absent.
So, yeah, bless you.
It's 3 separate
So-
motions.
Yep. So those motions.
No, there's one, Freddie,
Yes.
on the bottom.
So is it one motion or? two
No, it's
motions?
three
Motion, one, no, just one motion.
No, it's three. I
Three?
made it
Three.
three
Oh,
on
is it?
the agenda. I
Okay.
totally
Okay.
blanked out on it. I'll copy it over here. Why don't you take that?
I move that the Board of Education of Mundelein Elementary School District 75 accept the superintendent's recommendations to approve the executive session minutes for April 19th, 2022.
Here. Second, by Hitzke. Billy Tear.
Aye.
Hitzke.
Aye.
Carl,
Aye.
Rose,
Aye.
Holly, absent. Fingerhut,
Aye.
Gallegos, aye. Okay.
I motion for the board to, that the Board of Education of Mundelein Elementary School District 75 accept the superintendent's recommendations to approve the executive session minutes for May 2nd, 2022.
Second.
Billy Tear.
Aye.
Hitzke.
Aye.
Carl,
Aye.
Rose,
Aye.
Holly absent, Finger Hut,
Aye.
Giggles, aye.
Okay, motion that the Board of Education of Mundelein Elementary School District 75 accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve the executive session minutes for May 9, 2022.
Second.
Tier,
Aye.
Hitzke.
Aye.
Carl,
Aye.
Rose,
Aye.
Holly absent, Finger Hut,
Aye.
Giggles, aye.
Okay. Um. Next is President's prerogative.
Mhm.
I think the only thing I'd say is, does anybody have anything they'd be interested in for future agenda?
I think that this summer sometime, the STEAM Foundation is planning on doing a tour of the new multimedia center at the middle school. I didn't know if we could be included with that or to do that on our own as a separate tour. For efficiency of resources, it might make sense to do that at the same time. I think somebody is setting that up, I heard, but I would like to see that once it's up. I know they're still finishing some of the implementation and installation of some of the sound boards, I think, but I would like to do that at some point.
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
Maybe we should also explain to Emily what president's prerogative part is. Where the president can have something that he wants to talk about, wants to add to the agenda, or any of us, just like Christie, if there's something we want to have put on the agenda next month or down the line somewhere where, the administration has an opportunity to, work with it or do whatever, so kind of where it is.
All right, and then there's a reminder, there's each meeting, we have these exit slips that we fill out. You'll get a copy on your computer and that as well. Basically looks at what the meeting was and what your impression was, if there's anything we need to improve on or did we miss something, whatever. So it's ongoing to keep looking at us and what we're doing.
I think just as a reminder, also next Monday evening is, I still call it graduation,
Yeah.
for Carl Samper. It's fine. Maturity. And then Tuesday is the staff appreciation.
And we're doing it for both.
Assuming the promotion, get it formal attire here, business casual.
I think you can go business casual if you like. I'll wear a suit and tie,
He has to look official.
presentable,
Kevin, you're always presentable,
try to be.
almost as much as Shane.
Shane's got the tie and the socks matching.
Yeah.
Well, I thought, what we're talking about, wearing a suit and tie.
If you want,
I don't wear,
and one tie.
I don't wear one of my weddings. I didn't.
Okay,
He's not about to start now.
yeah. All right,
And Kevin, you said to meet there about 6:45.
Let me confirm, I think it's a 7 o'clock start, so I think we had put down like the 6:45, 6:50 arrive. So we can get all set up, we get everybody placed, and then it starts at 7. I thought he said like done by 8, I don't remember my times, so I'll confirm with everybody tomorrow.
It's at the high school.
It's at the high school in the main gym, yes.
Christie, you'll be good by then, right?
I should be.
Chicken soup.
All right. So if there's business, can you have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Any opposed?
Nope.
8:11.